Hello there gang, and welcome to a very special episode of Displaying Model Behavior, where I'm going to talk to you about not only our channel sponsor Legendsverse, but more excitingly, how to build the ultimate Jim Lee X-Men team and the villains that they need to fight. For anyone who's been watching for a while, you'll know that Legendsverse is the sponsor of Model Behavior, but I'm doing a dedicated video on their request, so this is a little sponsored content. I want to put that out there, but oh my goodness. If I'm going to be shilling for something, it better be something decent, and Legendsverse, I have so much fun with this. So if you're not familiar, it is a one-stop shop for cataloging all of your action figures, not just Marvel Legends, but G.I. Joe, Mezco, SH Figure Arts, McFarlane, Mafex. So many are on here, and more are being added every single day. So I thought the best way to showcase what this can do is to show you how I would go about finding the best figures to fill out the X-Men. And you know what? We're going to do that right now. So we're going to kick things off with Professor X, and putting in the name Professor X, boom, brings you up this whole archive of all the Professor X figures that have been made and catalogued so far. That's a great thing with Legendsverse. Alejandro, who runs the site, is doing a Herculean task, adding more and more figures every single day. So instantly, boom, I can see the Professor X that I want. He's going to be in the hover chair, X-Men 92 style. I'm going to click on that, and then on this screen here, you can see all the important information. When he was released, how much he costs, and also, if you want to order him then and there, they've got the links here for places like Big Bad Toy Store and Nerdzoic! Never done that before. It's very satisfying. So you can go and buy that figure right away, or if, like me, you're lucky enough to have it in your collection already, you can click Add Figure to the Collection, and boom! There it is. And this is one thing that's really fun as well, is that it will show you how much your collection is worth, how much you've likely spent on it, and what the value is. Because this is the super clever thing. I don't know what Alejandro does or how he can do this, but there's an algorithmic type thing where it will look on eBay and see what things have sold for, and then kind of correlate the price to tell you what your collection's worth, which can be both amazing and horrifying, but it's pretty cool. So Professor X, boom, there he is, sorted. Let's move on to the next one. And typing in Cyclops, oh my goodness, we get so much stuff for this dude here. He has had a lot of action figures made, and this is where the museum side of Legendsverse really comes into its own. I love looking back at all the old Toy Biz figures, the ones from the early Marvel Legends, the different brands and lines, some of the really bizarre looking Cyclopses as well. Got that AOA one there, but I'm going to be updating that pretty soon. But here, a lot of people love the Mafex Cyclops, which we can see. But for me personally, it's Mezco, man. I love that Mezco Cyclops. Even if he's lacking the underpants, I still love everything else that he comes with, because you can see also Legendsverse has the gallery too. And they don't actually show off in the gallery one of the nicest parts, which is his bomber jacket that he has. But the blast effects as well. This, for me, absolutely is the ultimate Cyclops figure. Couldn't ask for a better one. And right next to Cyclops, you gotta have Jean Grey. And I used to be a Mafex person for my Jean Grey. I had the 90s Jean Grey, which wasn't the best figure in the world, but it was the best representation of that costume. But you can see all the different versions that they've done. Even the X3 movie Jean Grey is up here as well. But I have to admit, as much as I rag on Marvel Legends, the new Marvel Legends Phoenix is just absolutely stunning, with the fire base as well. That's got to be the one to go for. And again, you can see $50 at Big Bad Toy Store or Nerdzoic. And also they tag the figures as well. So you can search by Marvel Comics, Cosmic, X-Men. It's a great way of kind of correlating everything. But yeah, just looking at more images from this character. Oh, she's so gorgeous. And then also, they link to video reviews as well. So this is really cool. So if you want to see a live action review of the figure, if they have the link there, then boom, you can go straight to that as well. Got to make sure I get some model behavior links up on here. But yeah, I'm going to add her to the collection now, and already this thing's starting to grow. Now we got a big one, the old Knucklehead himself, and this is almost a little bit intimidating because it's Wolverine. So there are so many figures on display here. Again, not just the Marvel Legends, but the Mafex as well, but also, for me personally, the one I'm going to go straight to is the Mezco. Because I love that Mezco Wolverine, whether he's stubby and badly proportioned, and I know that there are things that people don't like about him, but for me, I just love him. And when you go to the screen here, they also have things like a rarity score as well, which tells you how difficult to acquire the figure is, which I think is based on just how many people who are on Legendsverse have the figure. So in this case, it says 0% because it's 43 out of 10,000. 332 collectors. There's a lot of people on here. So I'm going to add Wolverine to the collection now, and already there's this value starting to go up, but hey, this Mezco's glorious, no matter what people say. And now we got Gambit. And while I'm adding this character here, I want to also mention that you can do all of this on Legendsverse for free. You can make up your own little profile and you can start adding figures. You can add up to 50 figures for free. And then after 50, then you can pay a one-time fee to add some more. And if you don't want to pay that one-time fee, that's fine. You can just stick with 50 figures. But one thing I saw a lot of people comment on the Nerdzoic video that he made about Legendsverse was that they misunderstood and they thought there was a monthly fee you gotta pay. Nah, you told me don't play that. We're not going to pay a monthly fee. One off, 37 bucks, boom. There you go. You got access for life. You can add as many thousands of action figures as you want, and Lord knows in my case I probably would be. So in Gambit's case, I'm going to go over to Mafex, because the Mezco's nice, but there's no torso articulation, I don't think. Whereas this Mafex, oh, mon cher, mwah, chef's kiss. And they just re-released him as well, although I can see Big Bad Toy Store, they're sold out at the moment, so already he's going pretty quick. But this Gambit, absolutely gorgeous. And if you got Gambit, then you gotta have Rogue. And we have just had announced a brand new Mafex Rogue. Now, I don't have this yet. No one does. She's not been released, but that doesn't stop Legendsverse from cataloging her here in the collection. So we can go over to Mafex Rogue. Man, I'm looking forward to this figure. Does she look perfect? Maybe not perfect. I do find the Mafex faces look a little porcelain to me. But nonetheless though, I'm going to have to add her to the collection. You can see the retail price when she's going to be released. Hopefully 2024. Fingers crossed they'll get her out before the end of the year. But yeah, she's going straight on the list. And now we have the Weather Goddess, who actually has won me back over in the new X-Men 97 show. Her posturing used to really grate with me, but man, those Storm episodes on X-Men 97, I love that character now. And the Mafex Storm, a lot of people could argue there's not a huge difference between the Legends and the Mafex, but hey, if we're going to go ultimate, if we're going to go high-end and super zhuzhed up, then I gotta get the Mafex Storm. Plus, the different faces that she has, as you can see in the nice gallery, that's included here too. She's got a great selection of faces. The angry winds and hurricanes strike my enemies. I went all Transylvanian there. Blah! But nonetheless though, this is a great looking Storm. Now it's Mrs. McCoy's blue-eyed baby boy, and honestly, I used to think the Select Beast was kind of cool. I like mixing up the lines as much as I can do, but then Hasbro went and they dropped the retro Beast here with the cloth lab coat and the glasses, all the accessories. It's just so gorgeous. You could argue that it's just the old Beast with a new lab coat, but man, that old Beast was great as well. Sold out in both retailers at the moment. A little bit hard to come by, but man, he's just such a great figure. Easy addition. I can't see anyone topping this Beast for a long time. Now a figure that I really want a better version of, it's Archangel. And okay, we've got Angel, who's a beautiful figure, but I want the Horseman of Apocalypse, razor metal winged Angel. And this one that we've got from Marvel Legends, the most recent one, is probably the superior one. It is great to see the older ones here as well as the X-Force box set too. I feel like this is well overdue for an upgrade though. In the meantime, he'll do the job. At least he's got a whole bunch of different faces. I always gave them credit for that. You got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 different Archangel faces? That's some good value for money. His name's Bishop. He's from the future. Yep, you sure are Bishop, and you're also from my shelf as well. And the Bishop, I have to go for. Absolutely, so easy. it's the Mezco. I only held him in my hand briefly when I was back home in England, but even then I could see like, oh, you are a thing of beauty, pal. Can't wait to rebuild my X-Men display with this guy. The Marvel Legends ones are pretty good as well. I actually really love the old Toy Biz one. While I've got Legendsverse here, I might as well show it off by just showing you this old Marvel Legends one. I just love how they cram so much into the boxes. Looks absolutely glorious. And you can see how the price is tracked along the bottom here as well. It's got max value, average value, and minimum value. So you can see roughly what you should be looking to spend if you did try to order it online, buy it from someone on eBay. Again, this is such a useful tool in that regard. Speaking of useful tools, I'm going to add this Bishop to the collection, because yeah, he's absolutely awesome. Now, I don't want to go too deep into the weeds with the X-Men characters, or else we'll be here all day, but honestly, there are worse ways for me to spend my time. I do love doing this. But Forge, I want to include not a great many options. They've got the new 3-pack, but honestly, just the single release is perfectly adequate. I don't need the training suits or anything. I want this basic Forge here. He'll do the job nicely. You can see part of the Caliban wave, released in 2019. Average retail price of 19 bucks. Boom, there you go. Now we got a character who we're still waiting for the update on, and that's Banshee. We got the 3-pack with the blue and yellow training suit, but come on, you want green and yellow Banshee. So even though it's a very old figure, not the prettiest in the world, it's the only version of Banshee that we got in his classic costume. So dang it, I'm gonna add this 2007 Toy Biz one to the collection, and hey, hopefully Marvel Legends can replace him at some point. Now, one of the founding members of the X-Men, we've got Iceman, and Mafex are going to be doing a new Iceman figure, but we've only had little prototype things shown at the moment, so far too early to include that one. There is a brand new, relatively brand new, Select Iceman, which looks nice. I like his ice slide, but the problem with Select is they just scale that little bit too big. Honestly, for me, I think my favorite go-to Iceman is the Juggernaut Wave one. He's very gummy, but I do love the sculpt. I'm a big fan of the frosted hair and the jagged shoulders. They did a real nice job on him. Also, the AOA one is badass, but I want to keep it all 616. So this dude, he gets the nod. Jubilee now, just like Iceman, another classic X-Men character who has been not rumoured and rumbled, but full-on revealed, hasn't she, by Mafex? But I don't think she's up for pre-order yet. So there's no sign of her here on Legendsverse, but believe me, when she is, you know she's going to be featured. But hey, I don't own her, so I can't really lay claim to her. So I'm just going to put the regular Jubilee on here, which is still a very decent figure. I love the two different heads. Add that one to the collection. And there, also there's, what is the other one? There's the animated one too. And what's kind of cool, I'll show you this as well. If there's a figure that you want to get your hands on, but you know, it's on your wish list, then you can literally add it to your wish list. His name's Cable. He's from the future. That's all he ever said in the cartoon. A couple of great Cables to choose from, especially because we've just got the Capcom style Cable from Marvel Legends. A lot of people really dig that. But for me, I want to go the ultimate bells and whistles type Cable. So I'm actually, for my normal collection, I'm a little outside the box. I'm Revoltech. Legendsverse don't have Revoltech yet. But honestly, give it time, because I know it's inevitable until they do. In the meantime, though, I really dig the Mezco. I'm a big Mezco fanboy. I know a lot of people don't dig the cloth goods, but for me personally, it just makes it feel a little bit more zhuzhed up. So Mezco Cable's definitely going to go on there. Ah, and now the amazing Nightcrawler. Now, the original Marvel Legend Nightcrawler was going for a lot of money for a while because he was very, very rare. And then we got the X-Men 97 version, so he's a lot easier to come by. Me personally, although I like the dark shading on the 97 one, I think actually the original one with the different heads, that's more my preferred Nightcrawler. And also it's the one I own, so that's the one we're going for. We're mixing it up with the ninjas now with Psylocke, Betsy Braddock, and I'm going to go back to Mafex for this one. The Mafex is a little bit flawed in as much as I feel she really would benefit from some thigh articulation, because like, look, you got the bands on the legs, so it wouldn't even break up the sculpt to add it, but they didn't. I feel like a ninja needs to be as articulatable as possible. Is that a word? We'll go with it. Nonetheless though, you can see in the gallery, she's still a great looking figure. I think a lot of people are hoping for a new Marvel Legend classic Psylocke at some point. Hopefully that'll be in our future. And rounding out the X-Men team, we've got Colossus. And it's been a while since we've had a new version of the classic Colossus. For me, it's Juggernaut 2-pack all the way. Although I will say that I was very tempted to pick up the Select Colossus because he's not crazy rare, you can see. Retailing for about 30 bucks, and I love the size. I think he's a squeak bigger than the Marvel Legend. But the only problem is, he's only got the closed hands, the fist hands. And me, I want a bit more of a, die, I'm coming to get you. Again, I always go Dracula. I'm terrible. So where is the Juggernaut? There we go. Juggernaut and Colossus 2-pack right there. Absolutely gorgeous. Retailing, still quite expensive, about 50 bucks. They did re-release it recently. In the meantime, though, I'll add him to the collection. Alright, we've put together a lot of figures now, so before we go on to the villains, because, you gotta have some guys for the X-Men to fight, let's just take a look at my collection here, and you can see where everything is displayed, and you can see, you can put these into different teams if you want, so you can put your own little groups together. So I could group these into Jim Lee X-Men. And if we go over to the price tab, this is really fun. You can see what the figure is worth now, and the percentage increase it's gone up by over the years. That's really clever and crazy. So Iceman, for example, I can see was originally $19.99. He's now $44.10. He's gone up 120.61%. That's just, for number nerds, I think that's really fascinating. Now let's bring on the bad guys. First up, of course, it's got to be Magneto. Me personally, I love the Mezco Magneto. But honestly, the most popular one that I think folks really love at the moment is the Mafex. And they did do a great job. I mean, if you're doing Jim Lee X-Men, you really can't get more Jim Lee than this Magneto. Absolutely nailed it. I can just hear the voice from the Marvel Capcom X-Men Magneto coming out of this guy with the extra blast effects and the power effects and whatnot. The cloth cape with a nice kind of shine to it. Yeah, the more I look at it, the more I think, okay, alright, you got me on this one. This probably is the best Magneto. And now it's time for the Juggernaut! And what's really cool is that when I typed in Juggernaut, it brought up the first two characters in my personal collection that have the Juggernaut tag on there. So of course I've got the Colossus 2-pack and Iceman, who's from the Juggernaut wave. For me though, for my Juggernaut, I gotta have them big, chunky, and chonky. So that's gotta be the Select Juggernaut right here. Still apparently retailing for about 30 bucks if you can find him out there in the wild, or on eBay for that matter. Yeah, he's not really posable much. You can just about move his arms up and down like a bushwhacker. But besides that, he's kind of a statue, but oh my goodness, what a badass looking statue. Now, I was racking my brains to think who else is in the Brotherhood of Mutants, and I thought, why am I expending brain power? We have the Groups tab here on Legendsverse. So I just clicked on the Groups tab, and this is part of the community feature where people can add their own groups, and funnily enough, the very first one is the Brotherhood of Mutants. So I'm just going to click on here, and I can see that added to this particular group, we got Avalanche, Blob, Pyro, Mystique, Destiny, and Rogue. For Avalanche, I don't own this guy anymore, because honestly, I mean, look at him. He ain't great. But I do want him for the collection. So rather than add figure to collection, I'm going to go to wish list. I'm going to add him to the wish list. A funny figure to wish for, but hey, I'm being thorough here. And then also for the rest of the Brotherhood, we've got a few good ones to choose from. So we got the Blob, and of course when I put in Blob, it brought up all the figures that were part of the original Blob Build-A-Figure wave. Even crazy Vinnie Jones Juggernaut over here. But of course, the one I've got to go for is the most recent Deluxe Blob. Absolutely gorgeous figure. One of the highlights from last year. This dude, he's fantastic. For Pyro now, there's a couple of choices we can see here on Legendsverse. We got the old school Toy Biz one, but of course, the one you want to go for is the Rogue 2-pack. Yep, you got to pay a Rogue tax, but hey, maybe you can find a home for her somewhere else. It's worth doing though, because this Pyro, I'm a big fan of this guy. Not so much the fire effects. I traded those out for ones from the San Diego Comic-Con Scorpion from Storm Collectibles. That makes him look a lot better. But just the figure himself, I think he looks great. And speaking of rogue tax, we got Destiny here as well. Again, if you want her, you're going to have to pay for the Southern Belle, but that's what the Facebook groups are for. And also, on here on Legendsverse, they've got They got a tab for community selling and trading as well. So again, they are doing a good job of being your one-stop shop for all your action figure needs. So yeah, maybe you could buy this 2-pack and you could find someone to take that rogue off your hands. And finally for the Brotherhood, it's Mystique. And this is one that's kind of, like, I don't feel we have a Mystique that I feel, I'd really want to get my hands on. But the best example, I think, is just the standalone. I think it's just maybe a Walgreens Mystique. This one here, I don't own her though. So rather than adding the figure to the collection, I can go to add to wish list. And then you can see what you've got, wish list. They've got all these different tabs. So it's not just the wish list, but also you've got a tab for pre-ordered figures as well. So you can see where you pre-ordered them from, how much you spent, whether you paid the full price or just a deposit. They've literally got everything covered. Also, another really fun thing about this website, of course, is that they've got the super old figures as well. I just saw X-Men Monster Armor Mystique. If you want a slightly more unusual Mystique, then boom, you can get this monstrosity. And now we have the Apocalypse. That was a terrible Apocalypse. But we got a whole bunch of fantastic Apocalypse action figures. I got a little place in my heart for the old Toy Biz one with the X Factor comic behind him. But genuinely, I gotta say, I think it's the Select Apocalypse just from the size that I really like. I do own him. I haven't really played about with him very much, but I'll add him to the collection. He is my go-to Apocalypse for now. Although I got to admit, the Build-A-Figure Apocalypse, he is really fantastic as well. So it's a tough choice because that Bath, he does, well, both the Baths, now that I mention it, because you got the old Toy Biz one here as well, and he was humongous, absolutely gigantic. In fact, you know what? No, I won't. I won't put him on my wish list. But man, both the Apocalypse Builder figures, they're phenomenal. And now for something sinister. It's Mr. Sinister, and there is only one quintessential Mr. Sinister I would want to go for, and that is the classic Wendigo one. This was one of the figures that actually made me want to start buying the X-Men Marvel Legends, because I saw this guy with the beautiful chrome paint, the crazy cape on his back, and I just thought, yeah. You know what, Hasbro? You're doing good stuff right there. But also, just for funsies, we can take a little look back as well, because they've got also listed the Monster Force Sinister as well, and my goodness, they were cramming so much extra stuff into packages these days. Or those days. In these days, it's the opposite. It's bare bones. Back in the 90s, they were just throwing all the plastic in there. And also, just a little shout out to the Toy Biz Sinister, who I think looks terrific. This guy, he's actually aged really well. Still stands up, this one does. Now, he might not be a totally essential character, but I gotta add Sauron, because this is one of the best Builder figures I think Hasbro have done. Certainly, I was going to say modern Hasbro, but he ain't that modern. I'm just dating myself. But gosh, the work, the sculpt, the paint on this guy, glorious, absolutely fantastic. I love this dude. So this guy, he's definitely being added to the collection. Because I'm still on a bit of a Marvel Capcom kick, we gotta throw in Omega Red. So kind of like Sinister, he was one of those figures that really made me go, dang, I gotta start collecting the X-Men. I can see a couple of other Omega characters popping up here as well. A couple from the Bad Batch. I haven't watched that. Also a Transformer as well. Legacy Robots in Disguise, Omega Prime. You see what's covered on this website. Oh, and a DC one? Omega Last Night on Earth. Omega versus Batman 2-pack. Omega's a popular name. For me personally, though, it's got to be the OG. Well, I said not OG. The OG Hasbro Omega Red. He's going in the display. Now an interesting one. How about the Brood? You got to have a couple of Brood monsters in your display. And we got a couple to choose from. I just threw in the Brood and instantly we got the Select Brood here as well. Comes with a Skrull too. I don't own it. It's a bit more of an obscure one. So I'm going to add him to the wish list. So maybe when I'm feeling a little froggy, sometime. I might want to go onto eBay and see if I can find him. But also, I know that there is, of course, the Brood Queen as well. So we've got the Brood Queen Build-A-Figure. If I can scroll down and find her. Here she is. I had to go to a second page. I didn't think there was going to be 2 pages with just Brood, but there you go. So the Brood Queen, now, again, one of those Build-A-Figures they really need to think about, you know, doing a new version of. Because honestly, I think a Hasbro quality Brood Queen, oh, that would look amazing. Back with the Capcom kick, it's got to be the Silver Samurai. Genuinely, I will say this is one of the most underrated Marvel Legends. Just everything. Brand new, glorious, gorgeous sculpt on this guy. So pretty with the bright, shiny silver and just the little itty-bitty details. This is a pretty easy to find figure. He's not hard to come by. You can see he's still listed $19.99, released in 2019. So yeah, 5 years old. You can pick him up relatively easily, and when you do, you'll be glad you did. Let's get a little extraterrestrial now with Mojo. And Mojo is one of those characters who, surprisingly, has a few different figures you could go for. There's the Deluxe Mojo, and of course the old Toy Biz Build-A-Figure. You see all the different characters here who make him up. But then of course we've also got the Mojo World box set, but I don't need Dazzler and Longshot, so even though I do prefer the paint job on the box set, I'm going to go for the single release here. Don't own him though, so I'm going to have to put him on the wish list, and this wish list is starting to get pretty big. And even though I don't need to get Longshot, I gotta get Spiral to go with Mojo. I mean, I don't really care too much about the importance of the character, but come on, I gotta give Hasbro credit. They really went to the extra effort to throw in all the arms, the weapons. They did a great job on this Spiral. So yeah, you can see just down here there's a Shartimus Prime review of Spiral as well. Interesting they don't have the model behavior review of Spiral. Might need to fix that. But there's also the other 2 older, they were a Red Hulk Build-A-Figure wave versions of Spiral. But yeah, this one, all 6 hands down, definitely the best Spiral to go for. And finally, for the bad guys, we got the big mama jammer. It is, of course, the Sentinel, and it can only be the HasLab Sentinel. But if you got a couple of the Toy Biz Sentinels as well, oh my goodness, you can throw those in there too. See a little Sentinel Prime pop up there as well. Again, that's how thorough the search engine is. So yeah, you've got, you know what? I do love that Toy Biz Sentinel. If I ever saw one in the wild, I could be tempted. In the meantime, though, it's the HasLab. And this dude, you can see if we scroll down to the prices, this is really interesting. So maximum value that he sold for, $750. Average version, $637. And the minimum, $410. Oh my, you would be lucky, pal. You would be lucky if you can find that dude for 400 bucks. God bless you if you can do. But there you go. The Sentinel is the final piece added to the collection, and I'm going to go to my collection here, and we can take a little look at all the different figures that I seem to have accumulated over these years. And my goodness, there's a lot of X-Men here, and it just looks glorious. And then we can take a little look at the price guide as well. We can see what things are worth, how much they've gone up or down by. We can take a little look at our statistics here. I got 35 figures in total, no grails, because that's another thing you can do. Rather than just doing something on a wish list, you can put it as a grail. And that can also be a figure that you own as well. You can say, I own it, but it is a grail of mine. And there's a Build-A-Figure, one Build-A-Figure there. Collection investment, $1,478. Collection value, $2,182. There you go. Money well spent. And guys, I hope you consider this to be time well spent. I was not asked to do a video this epic, but I thought this is going to be a lot of fun. And what I've done here with Marvel Legends, you could do with the Justice League, because they've got McFarlane on here. You could do this with different NECA figures. They have so much stuff on Legendsverse. Again, I could have made a real quick video for these guys. I would have fulfilled my contractual sponsorship obligations, and that would have been that. But genuinely, Alejandro, who runs this site, dude, thank you so much for your sponsorship, because it's been a pleasure representing Legendsverse, because you guys are doing awesome work, and you're a pleasure to work with. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. If I haven't convinced you to go over and take a look at Legendsverse, then I don't know what else I gotta do. let me know, because I'll tell Alejandro, and he'll probably add it to the website. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Go check out Legendsverse. Like I said, it's free to join. You can add up to 50 action figures, and if you want to get an actual full membership, then it's just 37 bucks for life. And then not a penny more. And then you can just add more and more figures to your heart's content. Honestly, it's just one of the most fun little new tools that you can add to the collecting game. I love these guys. Alright, guys, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep displaying model behavior.